Assalamu alaikum. This is Farid Ahmed. Essay number 2. The title is Surrendering Mind to Allah. Surrendering Mind to Allah. To understand this, we will start with a question that what is Muslim? Because we are talking about Muslim. The Muslim is a person who surrenders himself to the will of Allah. Muslim is not a first name or a surname that comes from family. It is an honorary title for some people, not for their ethnicity or their culture. It is a universal title that anyone from any color can attain. It is not an Arabian title from Arab rulers, but it is a title from Allah, the Lord of the universe. Anyone is entitled to receive this honorary title from Allah if he or she willingly surrenders to the will of Allah. That's why today Muslims are like United Nations. In the Hajj, they are praying in harmony, like a United Nation. They are from different races, ethnicities, languages, and culture, yet they are performing Hajj together, shoulder to shoulder. But they all have the same title beside their name. They are Muslim because Allah named them Muslims for their surrendering. So the topic is surrendering mind to Allah. And to understand that, one has to surrender to be a Muslim. So in other words, a true Muslim is the one who has surrendered his or her mind to the will of Allah. Holy Quran says that the title Muslim is given by the most honorable Allah, who sammakumul Muslimin. Al-Quran chapter 22 verse 78. To understand the surrendering mind to Allah, the next point I would like to discuss is, in terms of surrendering, there are some part-time surrendering and full-time surrendering. In other words, part-time Muslim and full-time Muslim. Part-time Muslim means partially surrendering to the will of Allah. As a result, that Muslims believes in Allah and the necessity of following Allah's commands all the time also has belief in, but does not follow the faith all the time. For some reasons, that Muslim follow few commands of Allah that is easier for him or for her, but abandons other commands that is harder. Or a part-time Muslim surrenders himself fully at some point in some areas and doesn't in other times. For example, a Muslim who pray 5 times mean surrendering mind to the will of Allah for the 5 time prayers. But when it comes to the taking bribe, maybe he is taking bribe. So he is not surrendering to the will of Allah in that action. So that is called part-time surrendering, mean part-time Muslim. On the other hand, a full-time Muslim is the one who surrenders his heart and soul fully to the commandments of Allah. He or she is obedient to Allah every second in life, 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. And Allah calls believers to be full time Muslim, in other words, to surrender completely. In the Holy Quran, in chapter 2, verse 208, Allah says, Ya ayyuhal lazina amanu, udkhulu fis silmi kafa. O believers, enter into Islam or surrender yourselves to the will of Allah completely. So we are still discussing little bit more about surrendering mind to Allah. So why some Muslims surrender partly and some Muslims surrenders fully? What is the main reason behind it? Well, our mind is the main factor behind becoming a full-time or part-time Muslims. Our mind is the main factor. I'm repeating again. Mind is the boss inside us. Allah has given a willpower in human mind, and with that willpower, Allah has given also the freedom to use our willpower. With that freedom of willpower, we decide freely what we want to do and what we don't want to do. So, with that free willpower, if we want to surrender to Allah fully, then we can. And we can become a full Muslim. But if we decide with our free willpower to surrender to Allah partly, then we surrender to Allah's will partly and we become part-time Muslim. So, surrendering our mind to Allah is the main key. And with that, we can either become part-time Muslim by part-time surrendering or full-time Muslim by full-time surrendering. So a mind can choose to surrender to obey Allah's rules partially for the freedom of will, or to obey own desire partially. Sometimes we surrender our will or our mind to our own desires, our own wants, our lusts, our greed, our tradition, some of our culture, even if that is against Allah's commandments. And that is because we are not surrendering our mind to Allah fully. And because of this freedom of willpower, by which either we can surrender fully or surrender partly, we are going to be responsible. On the day of judgment, Allah will question us. Allah will question us, Allah will judge us to say that did we surrender our mind to Allah fully to become a full-time Muslim? Or we had chosen with our free will not to surrender to Allah fully. In Quran, Allah has given us that freedom. But the consequences is also ours. Allah said in the Holy Quran in chapter 18 verse 29, وَقُلِ الْحَقُّ مِنْ رَبِّكُمْ. The truth has come from your Lord. فَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيُؤْمِنْ. So you have the choice either to believe in it, either to follow it, either to full-time surrender, you can surrender to Allah, or وَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيَكْفُرْ. Or someone can choose to be ungrateful and not to surrender his or her mind fully to the will of Allah. So, this is the topic briefly I tried to cover. Surrendering mind to Allah, again, it is our choice, our responsibility. And if we choose to surrender our mind fully, then we can become full time Muslims. If not, then we will become part time Muslims. And full time Muslims is going to be rewarded fully. Part time Muslims will face bad consequences. So, this is the end of this essay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.